guys, this is Rustler VXL09. In this video, I'm going to be telling you the upgrades I've done to my Traxxas Summit and telling you whether or not I feel they're really necessary or not. So first off, I want to go ahead and mention I've had my Traxxas Summit 1/10 scale for just over 2 years, and I'll be listing the upgrades I've done to it in the order that I've done to it. So please enjoy. So the very first upgrade I got for this thing, I actually ordered with it. That would be the light bar for top. Now the thing already comes with a set of lights on the front and the rear, which is very cool. I actually enjoyed that a lot. But just for the extra brightness for the front of you for at nighttime, or just if you want the extra scale look or something on top. Now, do I think the light bar was necessary? Yes, if you plan on using it at night. Other than that, I don't really see a point of it. But they do put out some pretty good light. Here's without them, and there's with them. Just a quick comparison. The LED lights were a very fast, easy upgrade. You had to drill one hole, connect a few wires, and put some screws through, and that was all it took. Now, a small modification that I would recommend with this light kit would be putting some kind of black tape or just something to cover the back of it, because if that's not there, you have these lights coming at you and they kind of blind you from the back when you're driving it. So just something real simple. I just put a small piece of electrical tape across, and it stops the light from coming through the back. Now the second upgrade I got for the Summit is something you just can't miss, and it's the RC4WD 40 series Mudslngers mounted on axial beadlock rims. Now, do I feel like tires were really needed for the Traxxas Summit? Well, that really depends on what you're going to be doing. I feel like the stock tires that come on it are pretty grippy for going on top of rocks, and they're pretty good for going through forests, and they're pretty good all-terrain tires, to be truthful. These are something that just add character to your vehicle, personality, makes it look different from all the other ones. Okay, and I like to take this vehicle through water a lot, so for my third upgrade, it had to be stainless steel screws all the way around. I purchased my screws from RC Screws, and they gave me a complete set to take on every single screw on this vehicle. Transmission, differential, casings, everything, you name it. I mean, holding down the servos, holding down all the gears, the levers, every single screw was included, and even extras were included. I was very satisfied with RC Screws, and yeah, they worked very good for the Summit. I can drive this thing through mud, water, and anything that's dirty, just spray it off. Not really have to dry it off. It's a lot easier for just easy maintenance, low maintenance. Were the stainless steel screws necessary? I think so if you're going to be driving through water. It's a small price to pay. The next upgrade I got for the Summit was one that wasn't really necessary. Aluminum push rods and toe links. So, they just replaced the steel ones. Only reason I did it was because the rust issue was really the only reason. I just didn't want to have to mess with rusting toe links or push rods, so took the easy route and just went aluminum. The next to last upgrade I got for my Traxxas Summit was stainless steel bearings. Now I kind of mixed it up when I went with brands. Pretty much went with whatever was cheapest and just stainless steel. I did not upgrade the bearings that were inside the transmission. I did not upgrade the bearings that were inside the front or rear differential. Pretty much just the ones that were exposed, like on the rockers. Maybe some of the ones that were up here for the shifters. Some of the ones down here that were for the carriers. Now the ones for the carriers, the cheapest one I could find were Boca bearings. And it's kind of odd, but so I went with Boca bearings for all the carriers. So do I feel like spending the extra money on the stainless steel bearings was necessary for the Traxxas Summit? Well, my answer is not really. Not unless you're going through a lot of water, or a lot of elements, and you really don't like doing maintenance on your vehicle, which is pretty much how I roll. I like to just play with the Traxxas Summit. It's a pretty big vehicle, pretty technical. I don't like getting down and working on it. So, low maintenance is good maintenance for me. Okay, and if you haven't noticed already, The very last upgrade I got for the Traxxas Summit were the two Savox servos. Okay, and these are the Savox SW-0231mg, which stands for Metal Gear. So first off, we're comparing Metal Gear servos to the Traxxas 2075 plastic gear servos. So that's already a +1 for Savox for having metal gears. Now the second thing that these Savox have over the stalkers would be the torque. So each one of these have 208 ounces of torque. So those working together push around 25 pounds of torque. But the stalkers put out, I think, 125 ounces of torque, which the stalkers working together put out about 14 pounds of torque. Anyways, almost doubled in torque. Now, in order to do this upgrade, what modifications did I have to do? Well, very slight ones, to be truthful. I had to get Servo Extenders. So, I believe the closer servo, that wire made it in there fine by itself, but the further one, way over here, I had to get a short servo extender. I believe I got a 6-inch one, and that provided plenty of extra room to make it all the extra 4 inches it needed to go. So those wires fit in there perfectly. The ESC in the Traxxas Summit, which is the EVX2, and this model has the low voltage detection cutoff. For these servos, you do not need a BEC or a glitch buster. I went ahead and tested both of those out to see if they helped, and they made things worse. So other than servo extenders, what else do you need for these servos? Well, there's one more small modification you can do, and that would be to stiffen up the servo saver that is built into the Traxxas Summit. Now, there's no real easy way of doing this without modification. The way Traxxas has it set up is so it really stays the same. But, you know, with extra torque, you really notice how soft the servo saver is in the Traxxas Summit with extra torque servos. So, okay, and I do have a video on how to stiffen the Traxxas Summit or Traxxas Eat Revo servo saver. Link will be in the description. Go ahead and click on that if you'd like to know how to. It's a pretty simple modification that involves one small washer. So other than the servo extension cords and stiffening the servo saver on the Traxxas Summit, that's all you really need to do for any high torque servo. So if you want to run a little bit higher torque servos in your Traxxas Summit or Traxxas E Revo, these are the same speed as the stalkers, 0.17 second. But all you need to do is just get servo extension cords and maybe stiffen your servo saver just a bit. Do I feel like the Savox servos were a needed upgrade for the Traxxas Summit? My answer is not really. The stalkers do quite fine as long as you're moving around. The same speed as these ones, so you'll be turning about the same. You may turn a little bit faster due to the stalkers not really having as much torque. But for crawling, these ones do add a bit more torque as long as you do the servo saver upgrade. So for turning through brush or on top of logs or on top of rocks, these ones will help out a bit, but not really an $80 bit. So if I had to do it again, I'd probably keep the stalkers. They've worked good for me. So that was me briefly explaining the upgrades I've done to my Traxxas Summit and explaining whether they are necessary or not. If you have any questions, be sure to leave them down in the comments. I always get back to people. And if you guys did enjoy this video, please do leave it a like rating. And the next video I'll be trying to get out is how to make one of these mounts for your GoPro on your Traxxas Summit. So stay tuned, guys. This is Rustler VXL09 going out.